Thank you. I would like to call the meeting to
Recording in progress.
I'd like to call the meeting to order. Welcome everyone to the Thursday, November 2nd, 2023 school committee meeting. This meeting will be conducted both in person and remotely over Zoom. Attendance by committee members will be both in person and remote over Zoom, and remote attendance shall count towards quorum. This meeting will be broadcast live and recorded on ECAP. This meeting is open to the public. We will take comments from in-person participants. Please make sure that if you have a public comment when we come to that part of our agenda, that you state your full name and address before beginning your comments. We will do our best to answer all questions. However, we will not hear questions that have already been answered. So, first item on the agenda tonight is a vote to accept a donation from the Easton Chamber of Commerce to the Easton Public Schools Art Department. Dr. Cabral?
Thank you. We are pleased to have Chris Ventresco here this evening. He's the Vice President of the Chamber of Commerce, the Easton Chamber of Commerce, and he is going to speak to you this evening about a donation on their behalf, and you will vote to hopefully accept the generous donation. So I would invite Mr. Ventresco to please come to the podium so he can make his presentation.
Thank you for having me. As they had mentioned, I'm Chris Ventresco, and I'm the Vice President of the Chamber of Commerce. And we would be honored to donate a check here to the Art Department from a fundraiser that we held for the Chamber. But we had raised some funds to donate to the art program from our wine and art show that took place a few weeks ago at Oaks Ames Hall.
Thank you very much.
You're
And
welcome.
We'd like to thank you very much for the donation of $350 to the Easton Public Schools Art Department. Very generous. So thank you for thinking of our students. We really, really appreciate the community collaboration.
Absolutely.
And you being here today. Do any committee members have questions or comments? Nancy?
So at the event was amazing. All kinds of vendors from around town. McGuire's had lobster sliders. Claudia had those what steak and cheese things. And there was
Charcuterie
Farmer's daughter had a bacon thing going. So right there, you were all set. Desserts. Who did the desserts? Do you remember?
I believe it was Meredith.
Rosemary Fresh?
Was
Yeah.
unbelievable. And then the chamber orchestra, some of the chamber orchestra played wonderful. And then they had a band. That was great. And it was just fun getting to see people from that you don't see all the time. And they had lots of places that you could donate and you know, win things. And it was just a lovely night. And Chris runs around taking pictures. And I think finally Jack and I have a very good picture. Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
But thank you, Chris. It was good.
You're welcome.
Thank you so much. I know that the art department appreciates it, and certainly our students will benefit from that donation, so thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.
Thank you very much. We really appreciate it. Thank you.
You're welcome to stay for the whole meeting.
Thank you. Unfortunately, I have a session in the studio, but
There you go.
I would love to.
Thanks, Chris.
Thank you.
Okay, so let's, I will make a motion to accept the $350 donation from the Easton Chamber of Commerce to the Easton Public Schools Art Department. Can I get a second?
Second, DeLuca.
And roll call votes.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
All right, thank you, and thank you to the Chamber of Commerce. Okay. All right, so next up on the agenda is a vote to approve foreign travel trips. Dr. Cabral?
Maria Palma is here this evening, the World Language Department Chair. She will be presenting 2 foreign travel trips, one to Paris, France, on behalf of Patrick Sharkey, who is the teacher in charge. That will be in April, and on behalf of Gemily Neely to Costa Rica in April as well, slightly different dates. So Ms. Palma will explain the trips. You have the materials in front of you, and she can answer any questions you may have about those trips.
it's up and running again for Oliver Ames High School. It's been quite a while, so we're really, really excited and really enthusiastic about having the kids wanting to travel again and being able to. So Patrick Sharkey had approached me with his trip of Paris City of Light for the spring, April of 2025. So he plans to bring his upper level French class, French 5, and potentially, if there's room, some French 4 students, depending on numbers. He's aiming to have about 10 students, and he has run this trip before. He has brought students to France multiple times over the years and just runs an excellent trip, very well organized, and everybody comes back raving about the experience. So this time he is looking at a slightly different structure. It will not be a homestay, but rather a hotel stay. And so they will be traveling within Paris and potentially an excursion or two outside of the city. But they will be staying in a hotel with a tour guide the whole time from the Explorica World Strides company. And we've worked with them before. Our Latin teacher has taken her group to Italy with this company before. They are excellent, and they put together a very great itinerary for everybody. So do you have any questions I could specifically answer about this?
How much is it per student?
Oh, yes. So the cost of the trip is $3,325 approximately.
And this is not till April of 2025.
Correct, they have about
Okay.
a year and a half. And what I
Yeah.
like about the companies these days is that they have an online account for all families to set up, and then they can go in and make their payments regularly. They can schedule them for auto pay. They can check on them. Oftentimes, there's the opportunity for them to kind of set up a fund where they could have like family members who want to give like a birthday gift, for example, give them a little money towards their trip. And so it's a nice option that it makes it very convenient for the families to be able to check on that regularly throughout the course of the year and a half.
And so he feels like how many, what is the limit on, I know you said French 5 and then maybe, what's the limit of students?
So it's about 1 to 10, the ratio, and
But how-
then if we had more, then we could look at getting another chaperone.
So he's thinking 10 kids are going?
Yeah, that's what
Okay.
he's estimating. He's aiming for about that number.
Okay, great, thank you.
Jackie or Lauren, do you have any questions? I don't have any questions. The proposal's complete and well
Okay.
put together, so
Okay.
it seems pretty straightforward.
Great.
Actually, I do have a quick question. And I just didn't understand why are we approving this trip for 2025 now?
We like to plan these in advance to give the families ample time to set up their payment plan.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and the students enroll in the course, the year before when we sign up for the following year. So they kind of, if they know that they're going to be going on this trip, they make their schedules accordingly too. So it gives them time to kind of plan, what they're going to be taking for the following year.
Got it. Okay, thank you.
Okay, so do we want to, let's vote on this one first? Okay, all right, great. So would somebody like to make a motion to approve the proposal for the Paris City of Lights trip in 2025?
So move.
Wiseman,
Oh, go ahead.
go ahead. Wiseman, so moved.
DeLuca, thank you.
Roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
All right, great. And then the next one?
Okay, we have a trip now for our Spanish students. We are looking to bring students in levels 3 and up. Mrs. Neely had planned for to Costa Rica next year. So they would be flying into the capital of San Jose and then traveling to a couple of regions, Arenal and Guanacaste regions, staying in hotels throughout that time as well, and really exploring and getting to know Costa Rica's way of life, their sustainability commitment, and just their very unique culture and the natural setting that they offer there. Mrs. Neely is working with EF, Education First Travel Company, who she has worked with before. She has gone on 2 trips with them to Peru in 2019 and Puerto Rico in 2022. And again, we've had great experiences with this company as well. And she has put together a great itinerary with the contact that we have there. And that would also be for April starting a day or two before April vacation actually begins, and then going into the week of April vacation of 2025 as well. And like I said, it would be Spanish 3 and higher would be what we were working with as Mrs. Neely is teaching those levels, so she can work with those students directly.
Is that also 10 students?
And so that one, we're anticipating a little bit more because we do usually have higher enrollment in Spanish, so we could look at adding another department chaperone as well, which I anticipate that will probably happen. And the trip cost for this one as well is in the approximately $3,439.
Jackie or Lauren, any questions or comments? All right, and again, similar to the Paris one, the packet's well put together and trips that we're already familiar with, so really straightforward. So, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the Costa Rica World Language trip for April of 2025?
So moved, DeLuca.
Second, Wiseman.
Roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
All right, great. Thank you so much for presenting.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay. Let's see, and next up is a vote to approve an overnight trip. Dr. Cabral?
Cross-country coach Kyle Souza he is online this evening, and he is presenting an overnight trip to Devon's, Mass. For the team to compete in the 2023 MIAA All-State Cross-Country Meet, Saturday, November 18th. He can provide more information if you would like, and we'll answer any questions you might have about that. Coach?
Hello. Yes, so I would, this proposal will look familiar to many of you, but the last meet of our cross-country season this year is once again the MIAA All-State Meet out in Devon's, Mass. The MIAA is good enough to secure the course and open it up the afternoon just prior to the race for a course preview. So we would like to, as we've done in the past, take advantage of that, take the team out on Friday, see the course. We usually finish up right around dusk. And then what we like to do, rather than come back and get on an early bus the next morning to go right back, is keep the team out there, go to dinner, take them overnight in a hotel, and then on Saturday morning, get up and head over to our last race.
Nancy?
I have a question. So are there some kids that are not going to Devon's, they're going to go on Saturday?
Yes, so just to clarify, this would be just the athletes who are competing. So the way this works is that our Division 1C championship, a week from this Saturday, we have to qualify. So this is all pending qualification. But then when we qualify, it would only be 10 boys and 10 girls, hopefully, that would qualify. So those are the athletes we'd be taking on Friday to see the course. We do bring the rest of the team out on Saturday morning just to watch the races and support their teammates. So the whole team ends up going on Saturday, but the overnight is exclusively those athletes that would be competing.
Thank you.
Any other questions or comments from committee members? No? Okay. I was, as I said, when this came up to be placed on the agenda, this is one of those really fun ones that we are totally happy to get to the opportunity to vote on. And we know that, the students have been enormously successful in recent years. And so good luck to all of them, and hopefully we'll continue that amazing track record. No pun intended.
Thank you so much.
So with that, then, let's see, would somebody like to make a motion to approve the overnight trip for the cross-country team to Devon's on November 18th, or November 17th to 18th?
Wiseman, so moved.
And can I get a second?
DeLuca, second.
And roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
All right. Great.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Coach.
Good
Thank you
luck.
very much.
Alrighty, let's see, so next up, schedule of payments. Since the school committee last met, it has approved warrants 026S and 028S. And then warrants 029S and 030S are in the process of making their way through signatures. All right. So our next item is our student representative update. Marvel?
Okay, so this week is going to be a little more heavy towards EMS and high school, and then next week we'll hopefully have everything going on throughout all schools. So recently we had the DJ Henry Day at the high school. A lot of students vocalized their appreciation towards the variation of presentations throughout the grades. So the freshmen had a video, the sophomores also had a different video. The freshmen had the 48-hour documentary, I'm pretty sure, and the sophomores had a Zoom recording. They had a segment of the Zoom recording of Brendan talking to students at Stonehill. And then they also had surveys to go along with that. And then the juniors and seniors got to have Brendan come in person, and it was a presentation. Brendan is one of his friends who was in the car the day of the incident, and he talked it was very interesting. He talked a lot about what happened, and how he feels about it to this day, and it was a very great experience throughout. On the other hand, the 8th grade open house happened very recently. Both the clubs and the students were very excited. A lot of the 8th graders were very interested in getting a glimpse at the extracurriculars that OA offers. And on the other hand, the clubs were also excited to show off their accomplishments and what they've prepared. And then lastly, kind of school spirit-wise, Student Council has homecoming recently posted the official date and the information regarding ticket sales, and then holidays coming up, so all the individual graduating classes are very spirited to get ready for that. Yeah.
Okay. So who's winning this year?
Oh, juniors for sure. We're gonna.
What's the junior theme?
It's a secret.
Oh, I was gonna say, I don't know.
No,
You
they
can
can't
disclose
tell.
that.
All right.
Good, she was testing you. You passed. Good job, Marvel.
Does the 8th grade open house happens in the evening? Or
Yes.
So-
I'm pretty sure it's from 6:30 to 8 or 7.
So do you know, or how many 8th graders actually came to
There's
visit?
a large amount of 8th graders. I don't know the exact number, but there was a decent amount of 8th graders.
So it was well attended,
For sure.
and the clubs were happy that people had come to visit
Yes.
their groups and everything?
It was
Okay.
also a good opportunity because the club fair, so the OA doesn't have club fair during the day now, so it was a great opportunity for, I'm pretty sure it's open to freshmen too, for them to come and look at the clubs that we offer.
Oh, good. Thank you. Yeah. And dues to the powder puck football, does that still happen? It does.
They're getting ready.
Are you playing?
Oh, I'm not playing. I cannot do powder. I can't throw a football. I can catch a football. I can't throw a football.
If you could just run, that would be fun.
I can tackle someone.
No, there's no tackling, okay.
She'll be in the stands rooting.
Oh yeah, I will.
Thank you.
Of course.
Jackie or Lauren, any questions or comments from Marvel this week? Okay, all right, great. Well, thank you for the update. All right, stuff. Thank you. Alrighty, this glasses on and off things. Is this the rest of my life, right? Until I get bifocals? Okay. All right, so next up we've got meeting minutes. So meeting minutes from October 19th, 2023, regular session. Does anybody have any questions, comments, or edits on the minutes from the regular session on October 19th?
I already sent my edits to Lynn.
Yes, and they were incorporated in recent. Okay, thank you for that.
You're welcome.
Okay, all right, so I'll make a motion then to approve the meeting minutes from Thursday, October 19th, regular session. Can I get a second?
DeLuca, second.
And roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
And then executive session meeting minutes from Thursday, October 19th. Does anybody want to hold these for review in executive session? No, okay. So I'll make a motion to vote to approve the meetings, but not, approve the minutes, but not release them at this time. Can I get a second?
Wiseman, second.
Roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
Next up on the agenda is a proposed event with a possible vote at Blanche Ames Elementary School. Dr. Cabral?
Thank you. It is a proposed event. A vote is not necessary. Certainly, if you would like to express support for the event, that would be great. I had a lovely visit from Mr. Bill Ames, and he was explaining that the film that many of you have seen or may have seen about Blanche Ames and Oaks Ames has been amended to add the development and the building of the new elementary school. So he would like to, he has proposed a Saturday in January to have a viewing of the film with the new addition, and to also create a fun event about the legacy of Mr. and Mrs. Ames, provide some building tours perhaps, and he even suggested some very creative things like having actors attend who are in character as Mr. and Mrs. Ames, so he has a lot of great ideas. The two dates that I have been able to come up with where they don't seem to conflict with any significant district events at this point are January 6th or January 20th. And so really just looking for some input, any ideas that you may have that you would like to contribute to this. I will follow up with Mr. Ames and see if we can finalize this and move forward, and then we'll be advertising the event to get a lot of people to join us. Just a fun evening.
That's really cool. That's the idea.
Martin Luther King.
I was just checking, it's the weekend previous.
Okay.
It's the 15th, it's that Monday.
All right.
Yes, Jackie?
I don't have any suggestions of what to do, but I love this idea. I think it was, I really appreciate him doing this. I think it's a great idea, and I'm looking forward to seeing it.
That, the film was so great to begin with, and I can't imagine with the new school piece added in, it's going to be wonderful.
Yeah. It's been further edited as well. I haven't seen the new version, but Mr. Ames did explain that he had some editing done to it. There are a lot of, he described smoother transitions and things of that nature, and of course the addendum at the end. So I think it'll be, for people who have even seen it, I think it will be a fun rewatch, especially from the lens or perspective of having learned a little bit more about Mrs. Ames in particular through the school project. I think it will be of interest to some. I certainly will be there.
Yeah, I think it's a wonderful
Definitely.
idea. I was able to see it when they had a fairly recent event, I think it was in the spring, at the mansion. So I know you had seen it at Stonewall,
Right, so I guess there's been a couple of
Years
edits
ago.
since then, well, when it first came out.
When it first
yeah.
came out, yep. So I saw the release in May, and they did have some actors there at that evening presentation. And it was very impressive and really neat, and I think it's a wonderful idea. So, and either of those dates would be great. So I'm happy to have the committee vote to provide our support for this. So let's see, how do we want to, so let's word this as, so I'll make a motion to approve or endorse?
Endorse.
Okay, so we'll do a motion to endorse the proposed event celebrating the Blanche Ames movie at a date to be determined at the Blanche Ames Elementary School.
Second, DeLuca.
And roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes?
Loomis, yes.
Great, thank you. Fun thing to vote on, yay.
Yay.
And thank you to Mr. Ames if you're watching for bringing that to us. We really appreciate it. Okay, so next up is the MASC Delegate Assembly Resolutions. So as mentioned at the last meeting, the MASC, Mass Association of School Committees and Mass Association of School Superintendents are having their joint conference next week on Cape Cod. And I will be attending, and you all voted for me as the Easton School Committee's delegate to the delegation, the assembly. So we will be voting, delegates will be voting on resolutions that have been shared, they've been published on the MASC website, they've been sent out in email, they've been sent out in physical mail to all of us. But at a learning lunch on the delegate assembly, the MASC did recommend that each school committee that's sending a delegate discuss the resolution so that the delegate, as we're voting, can be mindful of the feedback of the other committee members. So we're not going to vote on formal positions on each of these resolutions because especially at this learning lunch, they did state that several of them are known to be expecting amendments. So the language here isn't necessarily what will be proposed, and at the delegate assembly, it's normal for the delegates to propose amendments. So so they don't think it's necessarily a great practice to vote on binding positions for the delegate to vote. But I do want to be mindful and get your feedback on how each of you feels about the various resolutions. That's what we're going to go over today. So there was a slideshow in the packet. I don't know what page it was, but beginning with Resolution 1. So this calls for full funding of the METCO program, and the resolutions that are published have a lot of preamble information that I'm not going to go through that explains why each resolution was put forward. But what we will be voting on is for the Mass Association of School Committees to call upon the governor and the legislature to create a stable funding structure to support METCO and its partner districts that fully funds the support provided by METCO and the cost of providing services delivered by METCO's partner districts. So just for clarification, we are not a METCO district, but have the ability to vote on this resolution. And some of the reasoning behind it was that unlike some of the other pieces of school funding that are well established, the METCO funding can be a little bit variable and sort of at the discretion of the legislature, et cetera. So they're looking to have their funding made a little bit more concrete and predictable. So any committee members have any?
I'm in favor of it.
Okay. Let's see. Jackie or Lauren, do you have any feedback either way? All right. The next one is, let's see, investigating of transportation bidding practices. And so this is to have the MASC prevail upon the Office of the Attorney General and State Inspector General to investigate the bidding practices of school transportation providers and present such findings and recommendations as may be necessary to contain costs and make more efficient transportation services for public schools. And this is an issue that we've certainly heard brought up over time, that many districts through transportation contract bidding will only receive one bid or have trouble even getting any bids. And so it's related to all of that. So does anybody else have any feedback or comments on that?
Well, I think this is probably one of the most, everything's important in this packet, but you're there, you're at the stone wall and there's no way to go. And then if the company doesn't do its contractual duties, then what do you do? So
Yep.
I think there's a lot in the air on that one, and
Yes.
I hope you get it all figured out.
Yes. Yes. And interestingly, this was brought forward by Southeastern Regional. So a neighboring district.
Mm.
So it's something that, and again, based on this, what I've heard when meeting with other school committee members from across the state, it's a problem. So hopefully we can get some of that. So I think we're all in favor of that resolution. Okay. All right. Next one is also transportation related, and this is for In such a case where a pupil resides greater than 1.5 miles from the school of attendance for a regional school district, measured by a commonly traveled route, and the Commonwealth reimbursement does not fully cover the amounts expended for such transportation, that the regional school district may allow pupils to opt out of such transportation. So I think where we're not a regional school district, I don't feel a strong opinion on this one either way. But there's quite a lengthy preamble explaining why those who submitted this feel it would be beneficial. So, any members have any thoughts either way? Let's see. Okay, there's actually a part 2 to that, and it's encouraging the legislature to modify an existing law, and again, related to having the Commonwealth reimburse the regional school district, et cetera, and that allowing pupils to opt out of transportation and not be subject to a transportation fee if they do so. Okay, Resolution 4, diversity, equity, and inclusion positions, and this is so that the MASC would recommend that all districts adopt the position of DEI coordinator, however it be known in the district, to work towards an anti-racist school system. I know that at the learning session on this is one that is expected to be modified to also include that it doesn't necessarily, depending on budget, it doesn't necessarily mean creating a new position, but in, maybe establishing that somebody within, maybe an existing staff member or staff members within a district do that work. So it's trying to, there's an acknowledgement that certainly not every district has the budget to go ahead and add a director level or coordinator level position. So, we're ahead of the curve, yay. So any thoughts on this one? Okay, I think we're obviously saw the need in our own district. And based on conversations at the conference Michelle and I attended in the summer, there are many districts who feel a need for this. So I think having the recommendation will strengthen the position. It's not a law, it's not a mandate, but a recommendation, and I think that will help strengthen the position of districts that do want to go ahead and carve out.
And I think I feel like at this point in our timeline of life, that we really need this DEIA, and every school system should.
Yeah.
Because the kids are learning, and they need to learn about all of this together, so.
Yep.
It recognizes that there's a valid need.
Yes.
Yep. Okay, all right, great. Resolution 5 is relative to changes in the Mass School Building Authority to increase grants and restore the accelerated repair cap. So it reads, therefore, be it resolved that the MASC calls upon the Mass Legislature to amend MGL 70B Section 7 by removing the $800 million cap. And be it further resolved that the MASC calls upon the MSBA to reinstate the accelerated repair program for 2024 applications. And that the MASC calls upon the Massachusetts legislature to allow public preschools to be included in the accelerated repair and core programs. So any thoughts on that? I know, we have folks here who have been heavily involved with and understand deeply the MSBA reimbursement process. So any feedback, Jackie?
No, I was just going to say I really support this. I think it's a great resolution, and it's certainly time to do this.
Okay.
For people that aren't aware with the process, preschool space, furniture, anything to do with preschools are not included in any eligible MSBA expenses. And so with our recent project, that was part of the responsibility on the taxpayer side. And so it certainly makes sense that it should be included. It will not have a direct impact on Easton, of course. The part that will have a direct, or may have a direct impact on us is the accelerated repair program, which is more for replacing very expensive items like a boiler system or roofs or windows in a school. And certainly over time, that might be something, it is something we have used in the past before our most recent building project, and may certainly need again in the future. So definitely bringing that was put on hold during COVID when the prices escalated. MSBA put a hold on accelerated repair and just continued the building projects that were already in the pipeline. So now that they're hopefully expanding the building projects again for other districts, hopefully they will bring back the accelerated repair program as well, so that we can make use of those grant funds if necessary.
Great. Resolution 6 is cameras for bus transportation safety. So therefore, let it be resolved that the MASC calls upon the Massachusetts legislature to enact legislation to pass into law the ability for cities and towns to install on all school buses live digital video detection monitoring systems for the purpose of enforcing violations against the owner of a motor vehicle whose vehicle failed to stop for a school bus when required to do so by law, and that the MASC calls upon the Massachusetts legislature to enact legislation raising the fine for passing a stopped school bus to a significant schedule of fines as penalty, whether witnessed by a police officer or recorded by digital video detection monitoring system. And so it's a little bit of background from that. Even in where districts have this video monitoring already in place,
Which we do.
yeah, and can share footage with the police, the fine for a violation that is brought to the attention of the police through video is different and significantly lower than the penalty that a driver would be subject to if the police witnessed the event themselves, which on its face makes no sense at all, in my opinion. So, and that's what this resolution is arguing for, so.
So we do have cameras on all of our buses. So again, we're ahead of the curve on that one. And we have actually submitted videos before. But again, the violation consequence is very different. And so, as you said, this calls upon the legislature to enact the same penalties.
So you know, are the vans equipped with the same equipment?
We actually have different vendors for some of our vans, and the vans that we have with the large bus vendor doesn't have them on there either. It's just the big buses.
Okay. So I think, and I think this will be modified anyway, but if it's not and it needs to be, I may actually suggest that they're explicit that this includes vans in addition to large school buses. 'Cause I've seen that come up actually fairly recently in the community, of somebody noting that, and especially where vans are often transporting special education students who have limited mobility or other issues where it takes additional time to get in and out safely, that it can be a real problem if cars are not honoring stopping behind those and trying to pass or cut off. So, okay. Any other feedback on this one? We're almost done. A few more. This one's big. It's MCAS, and I've heard that there is thinking that this will be broken up into multiple components. So the resolution as proposed is that the MASC urges Massachusetts to develop a wider, more consensus-built strategy for an evaluation system with meaningful input from legitimate stakeholders. That MASC urges the state legislature to launch a comprehensive evaluation to investigate the extent of biases pertaining to MCAS testing and make these results public. That MASC urges Massachusetts to enact a moratorium on MCAS testing effective immediately. And that MASC urges Massachusetts to develop an alternative to the high-stakes MCAS tests. And I think it's that third item on the moratorium effective immediately, that was probably the one to draw the most interest in having this broken out into different votes, because MASC is interested in sort of taking the temperature on each of these components, so that they can use that to inform their advocacy efforts. So, any comments or feelings on this one? I know Nancy has.
I refuse, I'm pleading the fifth.
Okay. I know you have
You
some.
know where I
know you have
stand.
some. Yes, I know you have some feelings on it.
I do.
Jackie or Lauren, do you have any feedback that you want me to keep in mind as we're sitting there, especially again where this one may have some nuance to how it's voted or handled?
Yeah, I'll just be very interested to get your feedback about what the discussion is at the delegation assembly. I'm very interested to hear what people have to say about this.
Lauren, do you have any thoughts you want to share? Okay. All right. Well,
You're on
I'm
your
glad
own
you're going.
again.
okay. Resolution 8, safe storage of firearms. So therefore be it resolved that MASC recommends all districts to urge their superintendent and staff to create the appropriate communication to parents and guardians that explains the importance of secure firearm storage to protect children and teens from unauthorized access to unsecured firearms and their legal obligations consistent with Massachusetts safe storage law. And further, that the MASC urges other communities to work with their local law enforcement agencies, health agencies, and nonprofit organizations to collaborate and increase efforts to inform district parents and guardians of their obligations regarding secure storage of firearms in their homes and vehicles. And during the session on this, it was reiterated that this is not taking a stance on Second Amendment or firearms laws, but just again about communicating about safety and in light of the laws that exist today, helping inform and educate families on their obligations under the current law and best practices around keeping themselves, their children, family members, et cetera, safe. So I know we've talked, this has come up recently.
Well, when the
Right.
resolutions came out,
Yeah.
I sent a summary to the school committee members
Yeah.
on what would affect Easton, how it would affect Easton, what things are not related to Easton, and so forth. And for this one, I did say that, of course, we work very closely with the police department, and so I worked with the chief, asked him to help provide us with vetted resources on the storage, maintenance, care of firearms in reference only to keeping children safe from them, an unintentional exposure. And so I do have that information. We have our district newsletter that's going to be going out shortly, and that information will be provided. Again, as you noted, Chair Starr, this is in no way any political statement or opinion. It is simply with regard to children who may come in contact with unsecured firearms. It gives parents and families some knowledge about safe ways to store them. There's even a link, I think, for free gun locks and other resources. So we're just going to share that information as educational information, which we often do on many topics, and that will be coming. First, people will see it in the district newsletter.
All right, so any feedback on that one from the committee? I think based on our previous,
Yeah.
communication about this, that we think the committee agrees that it's sensible, since we move forward with doing it in our own district already, without waiting for resolutions to be passed. So, okay, all right, so that's it. So I will certainly let you know how it goes and bring back any relevant discussion. The MCAS one will be, I'm sure, a very
It'll be
interesting, very interesting discussion. Okay, all right, so thank you all for your time on that. All right.
Thank you for representing us.
Oh, you're welcome. Happy to do so.
Sorry. I
It's,
don't know. We're
it's,
just not all here.
I
It's
know,
just weird.
it's loud when you guys speak
Yes.
in the room, it kind of
Oh.
echoes, so.
It's,
Which is-
it's
no, it's not
startling.
you.
It's
It's
not
not
your
you.
fault. It's a technology thing. It's just startling. So one of us jumps every time one of you speaks, which hopefully you can't see on camera, but we are laughing at each other in person.
All right, well, let's see. Okay, next on the agenda is a discussion and possible vote to approve the superintendent's goals.
Thank you.
Dr. Cabral.
Thank you. So, of course, I'm looking for feedback, and I wanted to preface this with the definition of all students. When we met this summer and we had our management conference, we made sure that we are using the same language when we're talking about all students in our documents. We frequently use that phrase, but what does that actually mean? And so we shared that not only just in our management conference, but then in our first day of school presentation, and schools have been using it. And the phrase all students in this document and other communication from the district refers to the equity for and attention to students from all backgrounds, identities, and experiences. These include, but are not limited to, all races and ethnicities, all genders and gender identities, all sexual orientations, all disabilities, all nationalities, all types of citizenship or immigration status, all religions, all family structures, all family housing situations, all medical and health needs, and all traumatic experiences. We are aware that as a public school, we are here to educate all children and meet them where they're at, wherever that is, to help them reach their full potential. But we felt that it was important, and I'm just trying to take the opportunity whenever I can to reiterate this definition so that we're all speaking the same language. And people know what we mean when we intentionally say all students. With that said, I have my goals here for, they're my superintendent goals, but I do share them with the cabinet. The school committee, I know, is working on goals for the school committee itself. The cabinet then shares their goals with the teaching staff. They have submitted their goals. And so the idea is that this all is generated from our district strategic plan, and that we're all working in the same direction to accomplish those goals and objectives. So the first goal, in reference to student learning, is about providing effectively and timely supervision and evaluation of all staff in alignment with state regulations and contract provisions by modeling exemplary practices and administrative evaluations and supporting administrators to provide meaningful and actionable feedback that focuses on high-quality instruction and equitable practices to drive improved achievement for all students. And this goal is a weighty one. We use evaluation in this district as a learning tool. As teachers, we know that everything we do involves providing feedback and suggestions and development to our students. And really, evaluations are the same thing, including mine, that the school committee does for me. And so I am endeavoring to model that feedback to be very high quality, specific, and actionable for all the members of the cabinet and the executive team, and to monitor their feedback in the development of the staff members that they work with. So that it's helpful information, that it's two-way communication. We don't use evaluations as a discipline tool or a gotcha in this district. It's a teaching tool and a learning tool. And so we really want to make sure that we calibrate those experiences for staff, and so you can see the key actions listed there. I'm sure that will grow. Those are the things that I'm currently planning on working on, but as we go through the year, certainly any augmentation or pivots that might be needed, I'll add that information for your review as well. I don't know if there are any questions about that first goal.
Any questions or feedback from the committee?
The second is related to district improvement, and for each of the goals, you'll see where I added the standards and the indicators directly from the Massachusetts rubric that is available online, but also where it aligns with our current strategic plan. And so this district improvement plan is to develop a fiscal process and budget that better supports the district's vision, mission, and goals, maximizes efficiencies and investments, and models the allocation and management of expenditures consistent with district and school level goals and available resources. And so we have some new members of our finance department this year, including the finance director, which is a modified position from business manager. And we've been working to really go through all of our operations, procedures, and protocols, and excuse me, and to align them purposefully with our mission and goals. I believe, and I've shared, that what we invest our funding in is a revelation of what our values and our core beliefs are. And so we want to make sure that they are aligned with our long-term planning, but also the immediate needs of our students and our staff. And so we've been working on really going through the entire system, coming up with efficiencies, both in human resource efficiencies in terms of the practices that have been very labor intensive in the business department, and streamlining that for more efficient use of our staff time, but also making sure our policies and procedures are written and very clear to everyone all along the line of a process, from a classroom teacher looking to procure a piece of equipment to the upkeep and maintenance of our facilities, to all of our payrolls. And so we have been working very closely together and are making a lot of changes, and we're thankful to the staff for being patient in these new processes, but we're already finding a lot of efficiencies and a lot of clarity. We want to make sure that it is extremely transparent to everyone how the budget operates, how we do our projections and our planning, and we are hopeful that this will result in better communication of that to the community in general. I also wanted to point out that I used the term models this for others in this goal as well for two reasons. One is because in part of that streamlining, that process, is that we're retraining all of the administrative team and all of the department chairs to do the budget a little bit differently. We are starting basically from scratch, using the strategic district plan to drive the goals of what they hope to accomplish and to make their future planning, fiscal planning, based on meeting the needs of their students and closing achievement gaps. And so I want to model that for them, but also the term model is really the biggest indicator between the proficient and exemplary standards on the rubric. The two items that, if anyone were to look at the rubric, the superintendent rubric, the two items that really differentiate between proficient, which is the high standard that is expected of all superintendents, and exemplary, are modeling this behavior for others and doing it consistently. And it hasn't been added to the superintendent rubric yet, but it has been added to the building administrator's rubric, that equity is interwoven into every piece as well. And so I've gone ahead and added that to each step. Not because my goal is necessarily to be exemplary, I should say, it is my goal to be exemplary, but not that the expectation is that I am failing in my own goals if I am not meeting exemplary, since the goal is proficient. But as I try to model, again, for my staff, it is far more important to set goals that aren't just realistic, but also rigorous. And in order, I truly believe that in order to really make the gains that I'm looking to make in these areas so far in the district, it needs to be modeled while I'm showing others or leading others on a path to try to realize these goals. And so I think that modeling that is very important, making sure that I walk the walk and talk the talk for everyone. And I always tell the staff that it is very important that your goals are rigorous and if you come just shy of them, that's absolutely fine and what is expected. But I greatly prefer that to setting goals that are far too easily met, that aren't challenging in really advancing our goals toward equity and achievement for all and surpassing them. And so, again, I'm looking to model what I ask others to do. Questions about goal 2?
I like the fact that goal 1, goal 2 in your key actions. So you have meetings going on with everybody in both of these. There's a lot of meetings going on. I hope you get a chance to get out of your office and visit people because there's a lot of meeting going on here. But no, I think it's good. And I think starting, from square one, cleaning out the house, and I think that's a good idea. So I hope it works. I'll be happy to see what happens, hopefully.
Jackie?
Thank you. So I appreciate also, as Nancy was saying, I appreciate this budget goal, and that you're taking the time to train the others in the budget process. I also always appreciate your effort to maximize efficiencies for our budget. But I also really like that all of these processes are going to be memorialized so that there's no guesswork involved, that it's very transparent. I think that's going to be very, very helpful. So thank you.
I think that's, yeah, and everybody's not in their own little box anymore. It's a team, which it needs to be. In everywhere, not just administration, not just everywhere, has to work together. It's not like, oh, we did this 10 years ago. Well, okay, that was 10 years ago, let's move on. Like I said yesterday, I feel like a lot of things we still do are from the 1800s, and we need to get out of there and let's get into the 20s. So, okay. Sorry.
No, that's good. We agree with you. And this has been several years in the making. From the presentations that we do on the budget every year, we always talk about the cyclical process that starts with the district strategic plan, and then we have an all-in approach to building the budget. We start with the staff at each individual school, and we end with the staff at each individual school. And it goes through that process, which I won't go over here, but that has been refined over the last 4 or 5 years, and I believe that we're at a point where now we can distribute the leadership of the individual budgets and the department budgets at every level, including the online component of being in the software system, to all those that are in charge of their component parts. And so, yeah, we're very excited about that. And I have to say that the leaders and the building leaders, for example, are extremely excited about this. They're very happy about this. It obviously is a lot more work for them, but that's not the point for them. For them, it's about understanding the process and being really fully participatory in the process. So we're very excited about that. Goal number 3, ahead of myself, is also district improvement. And just, again, for anyone who's not aware, superintendent goals need to include 1 student learning goal, 2 district improvement goals, and a professional practice goal. And so that's why I keep naming the subject of the goals. So this is another district improvement goal. And it is to promote the success of all students and create a strong sense of belonging, support, and engagement for all by developing, nurturing, and sustaining a culture in which staff members are reflective about their understandings and practice, and use student data, current research, best practices, and feedback to continuously adapt instruction, achieve improved results, and foster inclusivity to meet the needs of a diverse community. Again, you'll notice that this is probably the heaviest in terms of the equity work, but you will see equity woven in all of the goals because it isn't the work of a department or a person or one area of our work. It's something that is a common thread in all of our work. How we look at curriculum, how we look at what we spend money on, how we hire, what our assessments look like. And so I just want to point out that while this one is heavy on equity, because we have a lot of work to do in our systems right now, that equity is not a solitary practice. And so each of the things listed is there very purposefully. If you have any questions about them, I'd be happy to answer. You can see that there are a lot of key actions that go with that as well. Jackie?
Hi, thanks. Yesterday, we talked a lot about school climate, and I was wondering if that factors into this goal.
Yes, exactly. This is, so I didn't use the word climate, but creating a sense of belonging, support, and engagement for all by developing, nurturing, and sustaining a culture in which staff members are reflective is the climate of the school. I can add the
Thank
word
you.
if you'd like,
No, thank you.
because I know the school committee is working on a goal about climate. Yep. No, this is very much in alignment with that. That's the intention. Thank you.
The third bullet from the bottom on your key actions, create a welcome center. Is this a physical space?
Hopefully, yes. We are looking to create, so I'll just read it for those that might not have it. Create a welcome center for newcomers and displaced families that orients them to the community and the school system and properly connects them to available resources and support services. And so we regularly have people that are new to the district, whether they're moving in from another town, another state, or another country. We realize that if any of us were to move to a foreign place, the education system there is very different. How it's structured, how you register students, how parents can participate, how the grading is done, what is available in the community for resources for their children or for their family to support their children. And so we want to create a welcome center, which may not start as a physical space, but certainly that is the ultimate goal. To have a repository of these resources, and I'm working with Carol Perez, the director of DEIA, on this goal, so that it's more of a one-stop shopping for them. We are doing some of this through, we have streamlined or working on streamlining the registration process right now, and making sure that all of our documentation is translated or translatable, and having all of these things that are easily accessible to people when they're new to the district and maybe aren't very sure about who to ask or where to go for that information. And hopefully this helps ease the matriculation into the district and perhaps the town, if they're newcomers to the town as well. So yeah, the ultimate goal is a physical space.
Thank you.
Though I can't say it will probably be in the central administration because it's very small.
But it's yours.
Yes, but it's connected and that's what's good. And goal number 4 is district improvement and professional practice. This is to plan, create, communicate, and implement a comprehensive and cohesive 5-year district strategic plan that fosters a shared commitment to high standards of teaching and learning with rigorous expectations for achievement and equity for all students. So we are about to embark on, excuse me, we are about to embark on a plan to create our new 5-year strategic plan because our current plan expires at the end of this school year. This is, the plan itself, we hope to be completed by the spring, but then we need to meet with the administrative team and the staff and create our action steps for that plan. But I didn't want to just say we're going to create a plan. I'm very adverse to things that present themselves as checking off a box. I want to make sure that our work is transformative and not just performative. And so in addition to planning and creating it, we want to make sure that it's communicated and used widely, embedded in everything that we do, that it's implemented, but also that it has, I'm putting on paper that it's holding us to the standards that when we work on this plan, we are committed to rigorous expectations and achievement and equity for all students, so that we can be held to that as we work on the various objectives and goals of that strategic plan. And again, it's followed by key actions. And this will, my last 2-year goal document and all of the evidence that is filled in on the right-hand side where it says evidence TBD now, that was all completed for my last evaluation that was done in the spring. That is currently available on the superintendent website, and this document will also be available if the school committee votes on it this evening on the district website, and the evidence, of course, will be submitted as steps are completed.
Any comments or questions?
It's a rigorous
From the
list.
committee? It sure is. Yeah, you do, I'm always impressed whenever you present your goals, you give the updates on them, we're evaluating. It's always like, this is a lot. It's a lot. So your goals are very, very rigorous, very expansive, but I think you do an excellent job of translating a goal that can come across as establish world peace, right? And then, but you break down these huge, huge goals into very concrete, actionable, key action steps that it's like, oh, how do you possibly get there? And here's how you get there. You're looking at data, you're doing this, you're doing that. So I appreciate how the key actions really bring something, again, the goals are very big, very lofty, very rigorous, and then come to life through the key actions. We can really pick up and say, oh yeah, that's it. So I'm just always impressed by this whole process. So you do a great job of presenting it and putting it all together, and I know it's a tremendous amount of work. So. Okay. Anything else before we go ahead? Are we ready to vote on this? Lauren?
I'm going to talk really softly.
You don't have to.
I can barely hear myself. I appreciate how your goals are very smart, that they're smart goals, and that they fill in the acronym of SMART. So I appreciate that. Thank you.
Thanks.
That's all.
We're actually making use of SMART goals this year, the I and the E representing inclusivity
Oh, right.
and equity.
I remember you saying that.
Thank you, Lauren.
All right. Would somebody like to make a motion to vote to approve the proposed superintendent goals for 2023 to 2025?
Wiseman so moved.
Can I get a second?
DeLuca, second.
Roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
All right, next up is public comment, and we have none tonight.
Can I make a comment to the thousands of listeners out there?
Sure.
You are very welcome to come to Simmons Lecture Hall and be in our meeting with us. We'd love to have you. Just to come and fill up the seats, it'd be great.
Plenty of room.
We're
Plenty
here.
of room. You can
Plenty
spread
of room.
out.
Yeah,
Very comfortable.
it is. Thank you, sorry.
Okay. All right, next
Stay
up on
lonely.
They're welcome too.
next up on the agenda are superintendent notes. Dr. Cabral.
A couple of updates. We have set, Ms. Perez and I have set the DEIA community meetings for the district. We will have 4 this year. The first is on November 28th, beginning at 4:30 in the Blanche Ames cafeteria, and we certainly welcome anyone interested in joining us to come. There's no need to respond or give notice. Just please join us. We're happy to have you. If you come in the main entrance of Blanche Ames. You can't miss the cafeteria, and we look forward to meeting everyone there. Then a couple of facilities updates. The courts that people may have seen under construction throughout the end of the summer and the fall are just about complete. We plan to take ownership of the courts by midweek next week or the end of the week. But the ownership means is that all of the warranties begin to take effect. We assume responsibility for maintenance, and the locks will be changed. Right now, the construction crews' locks are on there, and they will be locks that the school department will have access to. And so that should be around the end of the week next week. They just had a couple of painting items that needed to be completed, and because of the chill, the frost that we've had, they have to delay it to, hopefully we'll have a couple of warm afternoons this weekend, and they can hopefully get that finished. But other than that, it looks great. The nets are up. It's ready to go. The only thing it won't have by the end of next week is a component to control the lights. And so the lights will not be operational just yet. We're hoping that that will be in, hopefully by December. But they will be open for use. So just a reminder on any facilities, whether it's interiors, to use any space within a building, a gymnasium, cafeteria space, for a meeting or a dinner or anything that people would like to have. We want to remind people that our buildings are open to the public for their use. And they're also open for rent, for businesses, studios, what have you. We love to share the facilities. But we do ask that they are reserved, and they can be reserved through the Director of Facilities and Operations, David Twombly. He's on our district website. He can be contacted by telephone or email. And again, that's just to make sure that the space is available, to make sure that if it's an event that requires any kind of insurance or custodial help, or you need anything from us in terms of audiovisual equipment, et cetera, that we can make sure that we're prepared. The exterior of the buildings will not be available during the school day. We are an exclusive campus, and so we have the 4 buildings on campus. And so we really can't have teams or groups of people here during the school day. It does create a security issue because the courts and the fields are in very close proximity to the school. We also use them very frequently for classes that go outside, or for physical education classes, and so we really need those spaces for students. But outside of school hours, we're very happy to reserve those spaces for people. The playgrounds behind Richardson Olmsted School, we again call them the North and the South Playground. The North Playground, which is the one that's currently under construction, is also just about finished. However, the weather got just a little bit ahead of us, and so there is a lot of painting on the road, the access road that goes through the center of it, very similar to the road in front of Blanche Ames, that is very interactive for the children to use and so forth. That is weather dependent. It needs to be over 50 degrees for a certain amount of days in a row. So that, and then the corkine that we are putting under any elevated areas, corkine is also very sensitive to weather. And so anything that has the corkine under it, or anything that needs the corkine under it, once that equipment is installed, will actually be roped off. No one will be able to use it just yet. And then the painted areas, or the areas that are going to be painted, can be used. They just won't have the final touches on them, probably until the spring. Unless we get any breaks in the weather, the crews are certainly paying attention to that, and we'll try to get things done when they can. But it is possible, now that we've had our first frost, that those 2 things might be held off until the spring. And then the South Playground, which is the hard top now, just the tarred top on the other side of the building, is set to, actually bids are expected due tomorrow. And so we will have a committee review those bids, and their construction bids, and so we hope to potentially break ground on that side of the playground again in the spring. So we're piggybacking those projects, and hopefully by the end of next summer, it'll all be finished. And that's all I have for right now.
Great, thank you. Assistant Superintendent notes, Mrs. Pruitt.
Thank you so much. I wanted to share with you a few things tonight. The first is around our new literacy program. Our students in grades K through 7 are participating in our new literacy program, Wit and Wisdom. However, there are other programs that we are utilizing to create the overall program. So for example, we use Foundations in grades K through 3, and this is a structured literacy approach to foundational skills grounded in the science of reading, and it contains instructional topics and principles critical for foundational reading and writing success. We also use Geodes, which is a part of the new literacy program that provides emerging readers with an opportunity to build knowledge while practicing the foundational reading skills through decodable readers. So I just wanted to let you know that we had a training for Geodes last week for our teachers in grades K through 2, and it was highly successful. The teachers were very excited to go back into the classroom. It's kind of, we're in the process right now of figuring out where it all fits and how it all fits together. And the presenter was fabulous, and the energy and the enthusiasm was just very apparent from our K through 2 teachers. So that has been great. We also are piloting 3 programs in the district right now. So we have Just Words, which is an accelerated word study program to develop proficient readers and spellers. And Just Words is an intervention that is being used in grades 3 through 8. At this point, if your child has been been identified as somebody that's going to be using the Just Words program, you should have been notified by now. So if you haven't been notified by the schools, Richardson Olmsted or EMS, then your child will not be participating in that intervention. But it is a really great program, and this was at very minimal cost to the district as we are piloting it through a study through Wilson. Wilson is the vendor. We're also piloting Foundations, which I had mentioned previously. That is a program that we are using in K through 3 currently. We're piloting Foundations in preschool. So our preschool programs are having the materials and the experiences that really provide that foundational experience for them. Lastly, I wanted to share with you Bridges, our math program, K through 5, is an inquiry-based and student-centered program that focuses on developing mathematical reasoning while creating an inclusive and equitable learning community for all students. They just came out with a new version of Bridges called Bridges 3, and we qualified to have 10% of our teachers pilot the program, and so we currently have 8 teachers, 4 in grade 4 and 4 in grade 5 that are piloting Bridges 3. So as you can see, we have a lot going on in the area of curriculum and instruction, and our teachers have been great with taking on all that's going on and learning the new programs and providing feedback. So I also wanted to just let everyone know that we are starting the process of identifying MCAS dates. We know that it's really important to get those dates out to families for planning purposes. So we are in the process right now, and those dates will be coming out soon. Also, we had our first LPAC meeting last week. Ann Weintraub, our Director of Curriculum and English Learners, facilitated the LPAC for the first time that our district ever had. Last week, Dr. Cabral discussed last time the importance of an LPAC and why we now qualify for having an LPAC, which is the parent advisory group for our families that speak multiple languages. And then lastly, I wanted to let you know that Easton Community University will be going out soon with highlighted events throughout the town. One great opportunity for parents that will be coming with dates still to be determined, but we want to get the word out there for any notification that will be coming out, is a conversational English class that will be offered by our middle school EL teacher, English language learner teacher, Anastasia Ziss. So if you know anybody that might benefit from a conversational English class where English might be their second language, or they are a multilingual learner, please let them know that this notification will be coming out, and we would love to have them participate. And that's all I have this evening.
Great, thank you. School committee notes. Nancy.
First, you always first, okay. Marvel, thank you for updating us on DJ Henry Day and the grade 8 open house. That was on my list of things. And Dr. Cabral, thank you for the BICO updates about that Mansion Drive property. That sounded pretty harrowing with the carbon monoxide and everything, but that was very good, thank you. Oh, big thing, Saturday, okay? November 4th, right?
Yep.
November 4th,
Yes.
from 10 to 4 at OA is the second phase of the public safety building project. So town meeting last Monday voted yes, and now it goes to the second phase, which is a vote by the public at OA from 10 to 4, voting on that project. So if that is positive, if that is a yes vote, then we can begin the process of building this DPW, police, and fire stations. Daylight savings is upcoming Sunday. One of the things that always worries me, just as a parent, as a citizen, as a school committee member, once it starts getting dark earlier, as you know, and these little ones are getting off the buses, please, please, please be very careful as a driver or, pedestrian and kids getting off the bus. I just get very nervous, so watch out because it's going to be dark. On last Thursday, October 27th, was Make a Difference Day. The fourth graders and some eighth graders participated in a Make a Difference Day in honor of Lindley Menard, who passed away when she was she had finished fourth grade. They wrote notes to service people and to police, fire, that kind of thing, people. They did friendship rocks, planted tulips. There were support animals that were there for them, to get an idea of, what they do and things like that. And it was a beautiful day, so they're inside, outside. But having them work with the eighth graders, because that would have been Lindley's grade this year. Those kids came over to RO, and the fourth graders went over to the Easton Middle School. So it was very collaborative and just a nice day. They not thousands, hundreds of blue shirts running around the compound. So anyway, that was a very nice day. Okay, I'm good. Thank you.
Jackie, do you have anything this week?
I have nothing tonight. Thank you so much.
Lauren, anything for this week?
I did, but Nancy said it all.
I could never say it all. Come on.
Anything you want to echo? From what or add to?
I want to echo how much of a beautiful, besides the weather being beautiful, but it was a beautiful day to honor Lindley, and the kids had a really meaningful day doing all the activities that they do. And I want to thank Mrs. Cunha for all the work that she puts in to do this for the kids. And that is it. Oh, and go out and vote on Saturday.
All right, great. Thank you, Lauren. Okay, so Michelle is not here this week, so she wanted me to pass along some music updates. So the marching band competed in Reading on Saturday. They came in first place, which we like we're getting a little used to. They also won Best Music, Best Visuals, and Best Overall Program. So congratulations to the marching band. There was a competition on Sunday that they decided to not participate in due to the rain, so made the decision to not subject their instruments, costumes, and props to bad weather. And then they have the NESBA, so I believe that stands for the New England School Band Association, finals this Sunday in Lawrence. So best of luck to the band. And let's see, Show Choir has Bay State Show Choir Festival, which will be here in Easton on the weekend of November 10th and 11th with the public show on the 11th. So tickets are available for that. The Chamber Orchestra will be fundraising for its Messiah performance that will occur in December. And so students from the Chamber Orchestra will be performing at Simpson Spring from 1 to 2:30 p.m. on Saturday, November 4th, November 25th, and December 12th. So get to do some local shopping and have some really ambient, talented music. Ambient music from talented local musicians while you're shopping.
It was only the 12th.
So nope, it's 3 dates.
Oh, good,
Yeah.
great.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure December 12th is the Messiah Sing.
Oh, the 12th is the Messiah Sing. Okay, all right, so it's the 4th and the 25th then
Yes.
for Simpson Spring? Gotcha, thank you for clarifying.
Of course.
Great.
Great you're here.
Yes.
That's great.
All right, and then, let's see, I think Nancy got everything else, and I get to do the sports
I
report.
feel like we should have an intro like the.
I know,
March
like,
Madness.
dun,
Dun, dun, dun, dun. Okay, go ahead.
So, as Coach Souza mentioned earlier in tonight's meeting, the cross-country team will have state qualifiers on November 11th. And then, assuming that goes well, the state championship for cross-country takes place on November 18th, so November 11th, November 18th. Cheer has a Hockomock competition this Sunday at King Philip, and then football will have, their next game is the Thanksgiving game. It's at home this year, 10 a.m. against Sharon on Thanksgiving Day. And on to playoffs. So 4 nights in a row, starting tonight, and so I'm not going to check Twitter right now and see how they did. But field hockey had their first home playoff game tonight, which was at 6 p.m. at OA, and it's probably still, I'm sorry, no. Got these in order. Volleyball is tonight. So volleyball, 6 p.m. Here at OA, and then tomorrow night is field hockey, also at 6 p.m. on the turf here at OA. On Saturday, girls soccer will play at 2 p.m. here at OA, and on Sunday, boys soccer will play at 5 p.m. at OA. So anybody who wants to attend, tickets are available on the GoFan app, and it would be fantastic to have big home crowds for these games, because the next games, they could very well be the away team, depending on how the MIAA scheduling works out. So, but really nice to start off the playoffs at home. So good luck to all the teams, and please go out and support them and cheer them on.
Jim, can I add one more thing?
Absolutely.
Are you done?
I am.
Can I just, and this is for Dr. Cabral and Mrs. Perot or whoever. Is there a plan for the alarms at BA? There've been 4. Is there a plan is there a way to fix what's going on with the alarm? Is there a plan to fix?
Yes.
Okay. Happening soon?
Well, we had to order some equipment,
Okay,
and we're waiting for it to come, and it will be
Okay.
put in the day it comes.
great. Thank you very much.
Sure.
There's a lot of little ones sometimes going to bed at night, a little nervous, as you can understand. As you know, you've heard from people, and I just wanted to ask to make sure. Okay.
So just, I'm not trying to be cryptic, I just don't talk a lot about the security.
No,
so
no, I'm
gonna be
not,
specific.
that's what I'm saying.
But one thing I
I
do
just-
want to say, I just realized in my answer, I may have given the false impression that there's something wrong with the system. There isn't. It just has been accessed by curious littles And so we're fixing that so
Yeah.
that they're not so
It's kind of
easily.
a design flaw, if you want to call it, or something that little ones
Well,
are able
that's,
to do that.
that's, they're ADA compliant. So it's not a flaw, it's a regulation, but we're
Yeah.
adding something that will help.
Okay. I don't want you to
Dissuade them.
reveal, honest to God, I didn't ask that to
No,
reveal
that's okay. I just wanted to
anything.
make sure people know that the system is fully functional. It's working fine. It didn't misfire or anything. We just had some littles. Just kind of check them out. And we want to avoid that.
Okay, thank you. All right, sorry.
Alrighty. So next up, I make a motion to move into executive session. We will return to open session. This for the purpose of pursuant to MGL, Chapter 30A, subsection 21A3, to discuss strategy with respect to collective bargaining for the Easton Educators Association, Unit A coach stipends, and Southeastern Public Employees Association, food service, custodian, clerical, and secretarial units. And in my opinion, having this discussion in open session would be detrimental to the bargaining position of the school committee. Can I get a second?
Wiseman, second.
Roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
Okay, all right, so we will adjourn to the other room and then return to wait for Lauren to rejoin. All right, so we are all back. I'd like to make a motion to approve the Southeastern Public Employees Association food service contract. Can I get a second?
DeLuca, second.
And roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
And I'll make a motion to approve the Southeastern Public Employees Association secretarial clerical contract. Can I get a second?
Wiseman, second.
Roll call vote?
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
And I make a motion to approve the Southeastern Public Employees Association custodian contract. Can I get a second?
Loomis, second.
Thank you.
And roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
All right, that's, yes, our next meeting will be on Thursday, November 16th, 6 PM here at the Simmons Lecture Hall. And would somebody like to make a motion to adjourn?
DeLuca, so moved.
And second,
Wiseman, second.
roll call vote.
DeLuca, yes.
Wiseman, yes.
Star, yes.
Loomis, yes.
All right, thanks, everybody. Have a great night.
Thank you.